Hi everyone. I hope you're able to hear me. Anita, can you confirm that my audio is clear?
Yes, it's clear, Chandani. Please proceed.
Thank you, Nikita. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's author webinar. So, thank you for joining us. I'm Chandni, and I'm part of the Learning and Content Management team. So, joining with me from the Learning and Content Management team are my colleagues Anita, Nikita, and we also have a couple of colleagues from our research support team, Sandhya and Deepak. So, before we begin, a few housekeeping items. So, first, so if you have a question at any time during the content of the session today, so please use the Q&A option to send your question directly to us. We will try to answer as many questions as possible during the session today through the Q&A channel. If we cannot answer all the questions, we will reply to you directly after the session, unless you post the question anonymously to us. So we will also cover some of the questions at the end of the session today. For the best view, you may wish to drag the central bar on your screen to the right to enlarge the screen that I'm sharing. And you may also wish to enable the live transcripts that you see on the bar on the bottom of your screen. So finally, our session is being recorded and you will be sent a link when the recording is ready. So now let's take a look at our agenda for today. So we will start by giving you an overview of the revision process in Editorial Manager. Please note that the steps may vary depending on the journal configuration and the type of article being submitted. We will also provide you a brief explanation of the various editorial statuses your submission may progress through in Editorial Manager. So finally, we will also give you some information on the submission tracker. So now let's get into Editorial Manager test site and explore the revision submission process. So please know that I'm going to be using our training site for the demonstration purpose with dummy users and dummy submissions. So the training site is a good replica of the live environment, but it will look slightly different to your own profile. So don't worry if you don't see things today that you normally get to see when you log into your profile. So this may be due to the rights and permissions that are granted for authors that may vary from journal to journal. So now let's switch over to Editorial Manager to start our demonstration. Just give me one moment. I hope you are able to see my screen again.
Yes, Chandani.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the font size all clear, or you want me to increase the font size?
It's perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Nikita, for that. Okay. So this is our test site. This is our training site that we use for the training purpose. So here I'm going to log in as a test author. So I'm going to use some test login credentials here and click on the author login to log in as an author. Okay, so our session aims to give you all the information you need to successfully submit your revision and also monitor its progress in Editorial Manager. To start with, for instructions on how to submit your revision, please watch our videos that you see on the right-hand side, how to prepare to submit your revision, and then submitting your revision in Editorial Manager, and all the supported articles are also provided. So please take a look before you start submitting your revision to the journal. So prior to submitting, it is also important to understand the journal-specific requirements that may vary from journal to journal. So there are a few places where these the revision instructions can be found. So the first place where you find this information is the guide for authors, which you can access from the top navigation bar. So when you click on this about option here, so here you will find the instructions for authors link. So please take a look before you start preparing and submitting a revision for the journal. The second place where you can find the revision instructions is the decision letter, which you would have received via email. So this letter can be accessed from your revision section here by clicking on the submissions needing revision folder. So locate the manuscript and then click on the decision term from the view decision letter from the view decision column here. So this action will open up the editor's decision letter. So if you scroll through this letter, you will find the journal specific instructions needed to revise your paper. And at the bottom of the letter, you will also find the reviewer and editor detail, editor notes that is required for you to make the necessary changes to your manuscript. And at the top of this letter, if there are any reviewer attachments, you will also be able to find them and download a copy of it before you start revising your manuscript. And there is also another place where you can find the reviewer attachment. So I'm just going to close the decision letter here. So from the action column, there is an option called view attachment. So you will also be able to see any reviewer attachments that is being provided to you from this particular option here. So preparing your files before you begin to resubmit allows the revision process to run smoothly and efficiently. So in order to see the source files that you have submitted in the previous version, you can also click on the file inventory option here that you see on the action column. So here you can download individual files, or you can select multiple files to be downloaded into a zip file format. So next, you need to prepare your revised manuscript file and any other files as described in the decision letter. If the research is being supported by funding, be sure that you have included all the funding body information and grant numbers, if any. And if you have any co-authors, verify that you have the current affiliation and contact details of all the authors mentioned in your manuscript. If there are any changes to this author list, such as adding or removing an author or changing the author order, so you must have the agreement of all the authors, and this information should also be provided along with your manuscript. So now locate the submission that you wish to modify and then click on the revise submission option that you see here. So I'm going to click on the revise submission option. So you will now see a warning message here. So if you do not yet have all of your revised materials ready or prepared, you can cancel now and then come back to it when you're ready. Or if you're okay to proceed with submitting a revised version, click on the OK button to begin the process. So in this step, you will be prompted to confirm the article type. Note, it is very rare to change the article type during the revision process. So doing so may also result in different required files or different required information from the journal. So you may refer to the guide for authors to know more about it. So when you are ready and you don't have any changes to the article type, just click on the proceed button to move to the next step. So at the attach file step, the system will automatically list out all the files that you have previously uploaded with your original submission. So you can untick any files that you will be replacing or removing, or tick any files that you want to be copied into your revision. So in this example, I would like to retain the declaration of interest, and I'm going to replace my manuscript with revised changes. So I'm going to untick this and I click on the proceed button at the bottom here. So in this particular screen, if there are any required files or if there are any file types that are missing that is required for your revised submission, that will be highlighted on the left-hand side here. So now you can just click on the browse option here if you want to upload a single file or if you would like to drag and drop a couple of files into your system, just use the drag and drop option here. So now in this example, I'm going to click through and then I'm going to upload my revised manuscript. So as I just mentioned now, any missing files will be highlighted in red color, and all the required files needed for your revision will be highlighted. That will be marked in green. And in addition, you can also see there is an asterisk symbol. So this means that these are mandatory files that are required for your revision process, without which you cannot complete your revision submission process. So now once you have uploaded all the necessary files, and if you have uploaded several files using the drag and drop option here, make sure that you change the item description for each of the uploaded file by selecting them from the drop-down option here. And also it allows you to remove any files that you don't require to be uploaded as part of your revision process. Just select the file and then click on the remove option if you wish to remove any of the files here. You can also change the order. The system will automatically order the files based on the designation that is already predefined for the journal. But however, if you would like to order them, change the order, you can also drag and drop the files. Or you can also change the order number here and make sure that you click on the update file order, so that the system will automatically order them based on the order that is designated for this journal. Okay. So once you are all set, once you have checked that you have uploaded all the required files and everything, so you can click on the proceed button. So it shows that we still haven't uploaded the response to reviewers. So I'm going to select this, click on the browse option here, select the required file from my computer. So now we have uploaded all the necessary files needed. Okay. And then I finally click on the proceed button to move to the next step. So under the general information tab here, check whether any details need to be updated. In some instances, you may be asked for new information at the revision process. For example, if the journal may require more information at the revision stage or have added a new requirement since your original submission. So please review and check if anything has to be appended here. And then you can proceed with clicking on the proceed button to move to the next step. So in the review preferences step here, you can review the suggested reviewers that you have provided with your original submission. So if you would like to make any changes here, you can add more suggested reviewers or remove any suggested reviewers. So you can make any changes over here before you proceed with the next step. So in the additional information tab, again, you will be asked to review or add any additional information, such as answering any journal specific revision questions in this particular step. So please review and respond as needed. If there are any additional questions, or if you would like to change your response to any of the questions here that you have previously selected for your original submission, you can also do so. So please review your responses here. So once you have responded to all of these journal specific questions for revisions, then click on the proceed button at the bottom to move to the next step. So in the comments section here, some journals may ask authors to provide the response to review comments also under this particular step. So before we move on to that, you can enter any comments to the editorial office by just typing any text over here. And then moving on to the response to reviewer section. So in some journals, this will be available as a text box. In some journals, authors will be required to append or attach them as a file type, like just like how we did it a few minutes before. So you will have to attach a response to review comments as a separate file type when you're uploading your revised manuscript. In some journals, it will also be asked to provide this as a text box here. So, but in either case, I'm just going to provide you some tips on how to respond to these reviewer comments. So first, create a list organizing your responses by listing each of the reviewer or editor comments and addressing each of it separately. So be sure to avoid overly brief or one-word responses, as being clear and detailed allows the editor to see that you have taken all the comments seriously into consideration. And if you disagree with any of the reviewer or editor comments, feel free to explain your point of view politely. So you can do that either by attaching it as a separate file type, or you can also provide them in this text box, which is available here. If you would like to access the decision letter, you can also click on the view decision letter. That will allow you to review the reviewer comments and the decision and the editor decision comments before you start typing your responses here. So I'm just going to So I'm just entering some comments here. And then I click on the proceed button. So this will take me to the final step. So on this manuscript data step, please check everything carefully. So if your submission is going to be accepted, this metadata is going to be used in the publication process. So if you need to update the contact information for any of your co-authors, click on this. So check every step here in the manuscript data page. And if there is any missing information that is required by the journal, so it is automatically alerted to the authors using this red triangle box, which is a caution box. So here, if you would like to make any changes to the authors, you can just click on this pencil icon here. So here we see that some information is missing. So click on this pencil icon. So the email address is missing. So I'm just going to say institution details and what is the contributing roles. So how this particular author has contributed to this research work. And once you have saved this information, click on the small floppy disk icon here to save any information that you have provided to the author. So if you would like to remove any of the authors, just click on this trash icon and remove them. So we have filled in all the required information here. So now if you scroll down, there is some funding information. So if your particular manuscript has some funding information to be provided, so you have already provided that information during your original submission. So if you would like to change any of that, again, click on this pencil icon and you can make any changes as needed. Or if the manuscript does not have any funding bodies, then just tick this checkbox here that no funding information is available. So at this particular step, you can click on the save and submit later, and you can go back. For example, you're not very sure about submitting your revised submission to the journal, you can click on the save and submit later. So whatever information that you have provided during the submission steps will be automatically saved in the system. However, if you are ready to proceed with building your PDF, then click on this build PDF for approval. So in this particular step or example, I'm just going to click on save and submit later. So by doing so, your paper will automatically get saved under the incomplete submissions needing revision folder. So here it automatically takes you to that particular folder. So incomplete revisions for author. So here again, you can come back at a later point and then start clicking on this edit revision option. and then you can proceed with submitting your revised paper. So either you can click on this proceed buttons here if you wish to go through each step, you want to review the information that you have provided at each step, or you can just click on this milestone icons here and directly go to the manuscript data step here. So now just scroll down and click on the bill PDF for approval. So at this step, the system usually takes a minute or so to build the PDF at the backend. So until the PDF is ready, until the PDF is built and it is ready for you to view it, you will not be able to see the options from the action column here. So once it is available, you will be able to view the revision. And again, if you would like to make any changes to your revision, click on this edit revision. You can go back to any step in your revision process and you can make those changes. Or once you are ready to submit the paper, just click on this approve revision button here and click on this OK button. So if you have not yet viewed your revision, the system will automatically prompt you to view your revision and and then click on the approve revision option here. So I need to click on this view revision option. So the system will automatically downloads the PDF which is built for your submission. You can click on this and then view the submission, view the PDF that is being built for your submission. And then finally click on this approve revision option here. And by clicking on the OK button, the paper will be submitted to the journal. So now your revision will appear under the revisions being processed folder under your main menu. So the paper will now be found under the revisions being processed folder here. So now we are going to go back to our presentation to continue with our content. So I'm going to explain to you about how to track your submitted paper in the journal. So for which I'm going to return back to my slides. Nikita, can you confirm that you're able to see my slides?
Yes, Chandani.
All okay?
All okay.
Thank you so much for confirming. Okay, so once an author finishes writing his paper and submits it to the journal, the system will show the status of the manuscript as manuscript submitted. Based on the workflow of the journal, the editorial office or the editor performs a technical check on your manuscript. They will check the manuscript word count, format, and figure quality, etc. The next step is assigning. The next step is assigning it either to the editor-in-chief or to an associate editor for further handling. Journals usually have multiple associate editors who are experts in a particular niche within the broader subject area. Your manuscript will be handled by the editor who has the highest level of understanding and experience with your paper's research topic. The status will remain as with the editor until the editor makes a decision or invites reviewers. The handling editor has different action choices to be made. They can make a desk reject decision, or they can send the paper for revision or invite reviewers. The editor will conduct an initial screening of your paper and assess it against several criteria, such as novelty, priority, and scope. If your paper is a better match for another journal, you will be offered a manuscript transfer. Also, it is possible that that your paper does not meet some of the assessment criteria, and then the editor will reject it before going into the peer review. If the editor decides that your paper is a good match for their journal, They will then identify 2 or 3 independent reviewers depending on the journal configuration and send them an invitation to review your manuscript. So when the editor invites reviewers, the status of the manuscript will automatically change to under review. So once the required number of reviews are received and recommendations are submitted, the status of the manuscript will show as required reviews completed. The handling editor will then carefully study the review reports that are being submitted. It can happen that the referee reports are conflicting, in which case the editor needs to find an additional reviewer. When this happens, your submission will then again return back to under review status. So when the editor has received enough high quality feedback from the reviewers, they will then begin the decision-making process, and the status will automatically move to decision in process status. So the decision may need to be confirmed by multiple editors in some journals. The manuscript will then move to the editor-in-chief's account for making a final decision. So until then, the status of the paper will still remain as decision in process. So now the editor-in-chief submits his or her decision. So if it is going to be a revised decision, the editor has requested that you revise the submission. You will find the details of the changes required and the deadline for submitting your revised paper in the journal. So if it is going to be accept or reject, the submission process has completed with either an accept or reject decision. In this case of an accept decision, the manuscript will begin its production process and you will automatically receive further information from us. However, if it is going to be a transfer pending decision that is made by the editor, which means that the editor has rejected your paper and suggested it to be transferred to another journal. So the editor has recommended the submission be transferred to another journal via our automatic article transfer service, and you are offered a transfer. So we will wait for your response before proceeding with transferring your submission files to another journal. So once you have accepted the transfer, the submission is now transferred to another journal and the status will show as submission transfer. So we have also published a video on the submission status explainer, which I just explained now. So this the link to this video will now be posted in the chat section for you all. So please bookmark the link, which is going to be helpful in understanding the different editorial statuses in Editorial Manager, which your revised submission may progress through. So we have also introduced a submission tracker tool for more than 2,000 plus journals now. So once a journal is using a submission tracker, an email is sent to the corresponding author when the first reviewer is invited. So as you can see from the screenshot here, the email will contain a link to the submission tracker landing page where the author can view the status of the review process of their submission. Please note that the same link will remain active throughout the end-to-end review process. So we expect to have the submission tracker tool available for all our journals in the near future. So the submission tracker landing page for a submission looks as shown in the screenshot here. So from here, you can monitor the complete status of your manuscript. So in this particular slide, I would like to provide some quick tips with data validation that may help you in preparing your revised manuscript. So data validation is an important step and it is necessary for all types of research work. So for quantitative research, the quality of data can be enhanced by selecting the correct methodology, avoiding biases in the study design, choosing an appropriate sample size and type, and also conducting suitable statistic analysis. For qualitative research, it is going to be prone to the use of incomplete and poor quality data. So it is extremely important to validate data by incorporating a range of clear and objective questions in surveys, bulletproofing multiple choice questions, and setting standard parameters for data collection. So you can also learn more about this data validation, the link to which will also be posted in the chat section for you all. So please bookmark these important links that are going to be shared in the chat section, which is going to be helpful in understanding more about these options. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our webinar today. So thank you so much for listening. So after the session, we will send you an email that will contain some helpful links to the webinar recording and some of the short video guides that relate directly to the topic, and which was also referred during the content of today's webinar. So please look out for that email. So please also complete the short poll that you see on your screens before you could leave. Your answers will help us deliver more webinars like this one. So thank you for joining us and see you next time.